What is your weird classmate story? He ate his vocabulary book at a rate of 1 or 2 pages a day throughout the school year. The teacher sent him to the office so many times, but next class he was back at it again. He was so determined. I wish I'd asked why. Well, did he achieve his goal? Yep. By the end of the year all that was left was the laminated cover. We had a guy at my high school who was a little socially inept. He would walk through the hallway with a sharpened pencil extended in front of him like a spear and say make way, mere mortals, whenever he would walk to class. He also got in trouble for looking up pronoun on the library computer. Of course, actual pronoun sites were blocked, so he researched pictures of Roman and Greek statues of nude women. Improvise, adapt, overcome. The weird kid in my graduating class always walked around with a sketchbook in his hand. He would draw graphic yet very realistic looking sketches of decks and hentai during class, and then somehow made them blend together into beautiful landscapes or works of art. It was like playing Where's Waldo every time he showed you his sketches, except with decks. Other than that, he was quite a funny dude to be around and everyone in our grade liked him. Last I heard he got accepted into a well-known arts school in the States and is apparently flourishing there as an artist. I hope he's still walking the halls with his deck book in hand and enjoying his little artistic life out there. Edit. Can I just say you're cracking me up at work with your comments? I may not reply everyone, but I'm definitely reading every comment. This is a friendly reminder that sometimes you can be the weird kid and still be liked. Remember, be quirky, not creepy. Apostrophe. Definitely. He might have been the weird kid, but he was a super nice guy all around. 10/10ths would be his friend again. A guy named Aaron. Big, stocky, wild unbrushed hair to his shoulders and a face full of freckles. Always brought his pet rat to school. Tried to crack open a coconut on his desk in the middle of SNE. When it came to choosing year 12 prefects, he decided to give it a go. Part of applying is giving a speech in the performing arts auditorium to everyone, so they'll vote for you. He gave a long rambling speech, but the highlight was him pulling a live pigeon out of his backpack and setting it free in the auditorium yelling fly. Freeing a bird inside of a building would have gotten my vote at 16. This one kid was caught with a machete in his backpack. This was around the time when people would dress as clowns and creep people out, so the kid's excuse was that the machete would be used to fight the clowns off. He was expelled. He wouldn't have been expelled had a clown attacked the school that day. Zero tolerance. If the clown attacked the whole school gets suspended. Even the teachers, even the building. He was the son of one of our librarians. He was a grade above me and would come up to you and do weird shit like say I'm going to punch you. Then he would kick you and run away. He ended up murdering someone a couple years ago. My librarian's son got famous as the lead guitarist for a band in the early 2000s. The sweet, quiet old lady would wear her Linkin Park shirts proudly to school prior to her retirement. She thought she was a cat. She crawled around on the floor, meowed, and purred. Teacher allowed this, and I didn't really care because she was still normal besides the cat thing. It got really weird when my friend suddenly screamed "ow, fuck," followed by the girl going mew from under the table. She bit his leg. A fake. She has no problems, just likes being a cat. This kid named Alec used to walk around hissing at people randomly and throwing things down the hall. In freshman year, they found a hit list in his locker. I somehow ended up on it, even though I had never said a single word to him before. We had a kid get expelled for life from our school for making a popularity list, where your worth was judged by your popularity rank. He dispersed it among students and eventually a lot of the lower ranked kids were treated like shit. This list eventually made it into a teacher's hands and the kid got in a lot of shit. Edit. What I mean by expelled for life is that he couldn't ever reapply to the school. It was a small private school that had an application process similar to college. Edit 2. Kids found out that one of the high ranked students slipped the list to teachers. She was unhappy with her rank. Edit 3. We students thought he got expelled because the parents of the whistleblower were filthy rich and regularly helped the school. They were probably not too happy about their kid's rank lol. Smartest kid in the entire school, never talked. 4 years, about 6 classes together, not one word. I tried my damnedest. Best I could get was writing or typing on screen in computer classes. People made fun of him, but I could tell he was a super nice kid, so I took up for him when I could. Travis, if you see this, hit me up. We had a guy like that too, named Mike. Never talked. People tried to say hi to him, and he'd just smile and look away. In 4 years of having classes with him, the teachers never made him answer a question in class, or put him on the spot for anything. Our final year of high school, he came back a different person. He got in with a group of guys with similar interests, and then you couldn't shut him up. Was like night and day. So it starts with realizing that on the first day you didn't even say a single word, then you decide to do it on the second day, but now you want to do it all week. By then it's a thing and people know about it, so you never talk, and as it goes on it becomes easier, and there's more pressure to never speak, then boom, you're done high school without speaking once. Edit. Holy shit, I didn't know so many people actually did this. I was joking. Shitty. That sounds like what I used to try when I was depressed in high school. Hopefully that wasn't what the aforementioned guys were going through. This kid brought a taser into my middle school. When some kids wanted proof that it was real, he tased a banana. There was a super weird kid in my class who one day seemed to just disappear. Well, apparently he got arrested for cutting a chicken's head off and using the throat and body like a fleshlight. No one was surprised. This is going to sound terrible, but this was a small town. Class of 50 kids. Didn't realize until I was in college that the weird classmate just had fetal alcohol syndrome. Oh no, it was actually pretty obvious based on his appearance, but we'd never learned about it in school and just thought he was slow. When I made the realization, I scanned through my memory hoping I'd never teased him, and I didn't. Thankfully. Edit. Felt curious, wondering what that kid was up to, and feeling kind of guilty/bad for bringing him up here. His 5 Facebook pages were weird, and I couldn't count how many kids were his. Our state has online court record access. Boy was he busy. Was charged in 2010 with second-degree sexual assault of a child equals 10-year prison sentence, and witness intimidation added another 6 years. Probably 20 other charges, but those 2 stood out. Talk about a mind duck. Well, that took a turn. A girl I went to elementary school with used to think she was a dog. She would act like a dog, panting, barking, licking her arms, etc. We were all kids, and it wasn't frequent enough for it to be weird, but one day she comes up to me as we're putting away our backpacks on the hooks and sticks her tongue out to reveal a glob of her own hair on her tongue. She then goes shhhhhh and walks away. I will never forget this. We actually became closer acquaintances in high school later on, but I was too embarrassed to ever bring it up, mostly for her. Edit. Till 90% of kids think they are a dog, cat, or T-Rex at some point. Edit 2. Seriously, what the hell is up with all the T-Rex children? It's weird that this apparently happens with lots of people. Girl in elementary school did a similar thing. We ended up at the same high school after we both moved and such. She forgot who I was and was being a straight bitch to me one day for no reason other than I was sitting near her. I basically reminded her that I knew of her weird dog phase, and she, nor her friends, ever bothered me again. You probably did the right thing never bringing it up. Haha. This guy's at my school would literally do anything you dared him to do. Slap a kid with a slice of pizza? Done. Take a dump in the urinal? No problem. Take his shirt off in the middle of the cafeteria. Pour milk on himself while screaming? Easy. I talked to him a couple times in classes that I had with him, and he actually seemed fairly normal. He doesn't have any social media, so IDK how he is doing currently. He seemed like the cool mad genius that did it just so people would have something to talk about. He knew that what happens in grade school doesn't really matter. I don't know. A kid a grade below me wiped his doo-doo all over the bathroom in 1st grade. That shit followed him around 4 years. When I was in 6th grade, one of the special education kids whipped his dick out in gym class and started jerking off. Like really jerking off. Kids were losing their shit. He actually managed to finish before the coaches could get to him. I hired him as a temp worker a couple years after high school when I was overseeing a remodel of the retail store I was managing at the time. My boss was pissed I hired a retard, her words. I stuck to my guns and let him sort stuff for a couple weeks. He was a badass. Like faster than I was. He never once whipped his dick out. There was a boy in my sophomore BA class who could lactate. And by that I mean he could make some type of fluid come out of his nipples and would shoot it at people. Dear God, I have a great story. I moved to a new state my sophomore year of high school. I, obviously, didn't know anyone, so I had no idea what kids were considered weird. In my first couple of weeks, the kid that sat behind me asked if I could get him a tissue. The box of tissues was on a window ledge right beside me, so I oblige and hand him one. Then I hear super loud nom 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 nom. And this guy straight up devours this tissue. He just looked at me and smiled. I looked around the room and everyone was staring at him. Sort of related story. Sophomore year of college, I was drinking with some buddies in their apartment. Pretty late into the night one of the guys I'm with dares me to eat a tissue. I respond with I'll do it if you do it, but I'll need some water. He's down, so we both grab our tissues and walk over to the fridge. I shove mine into my mouth, turn around to open the fridge. I then remove the tissue from my mouth and put it in my pocket without this guy seeing and grab 2 water bottles. I open my bottle and take a drink, pretending to struggle to get the tissue down. His mind was blown. He didn't think I'd actually do it. He then shoved his tissue into his mouth and swallows it, which in turn blows my mind as I didn't think he'd go through with it. I then revealed I didn't eat my tissue. We laughed. I felt bad. I ate a tissue. We've since tried to trick each other into eating tissues a total of 3 times and wound up with both of us eating tissues all 3 times. I once knew a kid who was probably 7 years old that straight up ate napkins. No idea why.